Hello, people of the YouTube intro. Welcome to the very first episode of 10 Facts in 10 Minutes. This is the show where I'll try to tell you 10 facts I find interesting in 10 minutes. Let me go grab my TV. Let's get the— what the hell?
You don't need this damn thing anymore.
Nice going, pal. It took me 3 days to draw that TV. 3 days! Now that I can mourn the loss of my precious TV that I drew with my hard-earned money, I guess I can tell you about 10 facts. Roll the intro and start the damn timer.
White folks, stand around, take a seat, I got 10 facts for you. And they ain't no deceit in this 10-minute show. I'll blow your mind, hold on tight, now it's gonna be a wild ride. Fact number one, listen up real close.
Fact number 1. Deer suck on each other's piss. This process is called rub urinating, and I personally find it disgusting and disturbing. Deer will piss on their tarsal glands, which is that weird ankle area foot thing. If you saw my not deer video, you understand why I have so much trouble determining where on their foot slash feet, leg, fucking ankle thing, where anything is. But that the tarsal gland is in that little curve, I guess. They rub that together like they're applying lotion. Other deer will then lick the glands and suck on the piss. They just really gargle that stuff down like it's mouthwash. They don't do it for fun like some of you freaks out there would want to, and you furries need to leave my fucking channel. Deer do this to help determine things about the deer like age and gender. Nothing says what gender are you like pissing on yourself and making other people lick the piss off. Very on money with that name, because they urinate and then they rub it. Fact number 2, Wendigo psychosis. If you've watched my not deer video, you know that I've already mentioned this. I decided, screw it, 10 facts in 10 minutes, because there's some stuff that just won't make a whole video. I can take one fact and make that a YouTube short, and I'm rolling in the fucking money. I have a form of psychosis, but it's not this, because this is psychiatric manifestations that make a person believe they're turning into a Wendigo. Symptoms of this mental illness include paranoia, anxiety, hallucinations, and my personal favorite symptom, cannibalistic urges. I really support the Donner Party, and that's the only party I support. The reason people start feeling like they're turning into a Wendigo is because of stories they were told as children and other mental factors. If I heard stories of Wendigos as a kid, and I started feeling the need to eat people, I probably would think I was turning into a Wendigo too. This mental illness commonly showed up during times of famine in Algonquin tribes. That and cannibalism itself, so they might have actually been onto something, and people probably were turning into Wendigos. It would also show up at any point. It didn't have to be a time of famine for somebody to develop this. Fact number 3, Cry Baby Bridge. A number of bridges across the United States are referred to as a crybaby bridge. These bridges are associated with the ghostly sounds of a baby crying. Very spot on with the name. Once again, that's a 3 for 3, folks. We got the hat trick if this was soccer, but it's not. This is a bridge. The sounds of babies crying are usually attributed to tales about the bridge, and also the fact that the babies are crying. These could legit just be normal babies, but we're gonna go with the sole fact that these are like fucking demon spawn babies or ghosts or whatever they are. These tales include either accidents involving a baby's death or just straight up infanticide. In other words, you either dropped the baby by accident or you owned up to that shit and you killed that little bitch on purpose. The events of the story occurred on the bridge or just around the vicinity of the bridge. An example of the story could be a mom accidentally throws her baby off of the bridge and feels so guilty about it she jumps off the bridge and kills herself. Now, her ghost starts to roam the bridge crying out for her baby to try and find it because she obviously cares about the child now instead of when she was alive, when she yeeted that bitch into a fucking river. Fact number 4, Felt Mansion. Dor Felt, an entrepreneur from Chicago, purchased land in Saugatuck, Michigan with his wife Agnes McNulty in 1926. Construction for the house started the next year in 1927 and was finished in 1928. The mansion was kept in the Felt family until 1949. The Augustinian Order of the Catholic Church purchased the house and converted it into a chapel and a seminary for boys. It was a chapel until 1977. The state of Michigan bought it after this and converted it into a prison. It stayed a prison until about 1991. The township it's located in bought it in 1995 and decided to preserve the property and register it as a National Heritage Site. Preserving it out of the goodness of their hearts wasn't the reason why they bought it. Turns out, if they committed to preserve it, it would be a massive discount. You wanna know how much they bought a fucking mansion for? They bought it for one singular fucking dollar. Fact number 5. Goga County Maple Festival. We have a short fact right in the middle. A perfect place for a short fact. It's held in Goga County, Ohio. Fuck Ohio. All my homies hate Ohio. It's held the last full weekend in April. Another set of bullshit rules for an event or a holiday. It's gotta be the last full weekend. Don't even think about putting it on a weekend where Sunday is in May. God will send you to super hell right where you stand, and you're gonna be on your knees in the Walmart crying like the bitch you are. The festival started around the year 1926. It's there to celebrate the year's growth of their maple crop. It is the largest maple contest in Ohio, which is weird they had to mention that in the article, because I don't think Ohio is known for its maple contests, but I could be wrong. Canadians could have taken over Ohio while we were busy looking somewhere else. Some events during the festival are bathtub races, maple candy carving, and the sap run. I don't know what the sap run is, but the mind sure does wander. Fact number 6. Beluga whales changing their head shape. Yes, beluga whales can change the shape of that bulge that's on the top of their head. Scientists believe that it's a way for these whales to communicate with each other. They're the only toothed whale to engage in behavior like this. Cetaceans, don't ask me for a better pronunciation, that's the best you're gonna get. They have skin that's too rubbery and too thick to show any kind of facial expression. The bulge that the whales change is called the melon. I guess you can call them a melon head. Sometimes, foreshadowing is relatively obvious. Changing their head shape helps amplify their auditory signals, which helps them with their social interaction. They could also use this in a visual way to communicate as well. Scientists have identified 5 different shapes the whales use. The 5 types are flattened, lifted, pressed, pushed, and shake. When they flatten their melon, it gets squashed downward until there is no more curve at the top of their head. When they lift their melon, they extend it to make the bulge look taller. When they press their melon, it flattens completely on the top of their skull. When they push their melon, it extends forward until it's above their upper jaw. You will never guess what happens when they shake that melon. And I'm not talking about their ass. It wobbles back and forth. I know, completely unguessable. Researchers have found and observed 2,570 different expressions the whales use along with these head shapes. What scientists don't know is whether they're changing their head shape as a reflex to their expressions or if they're doing it on purpose. That's a knee slapper. Fact number 7. The Allegan, Michigan POW camp. It was called both Camp Lakewood and Camp Allegan. You may be wondering why it was called Camp Lakewood. This camp is located on the edge of Lake Allegan. Another name that's right on the nose. Only a small part of this camp still exists, a building foundation and a historical marker. At its peak of being a POW camp, there were 250 German POWs kept there. The camp was put into existence in 1936. It started as a Depression-era civilian conservation corps camp. Single men between the ages of 17 and 23. So men who nobody would really miss if they somehow died doing some conservation. They were put to work on environmental restoration projects. The projects were reforestation and flood control. It was turned into a POW camp in 1944. The 250 Germans were from the North African campaign of World War II. These POWs worked in fields and helped farmers harvest their crops. 40 of them even worked in the Heinz factory in Holland. That's right, if you ate ketchup in Holland during 1944, you were eating Nazi ketchup, you anti-Semitic piece of trash. Shame on you. Some POWs did attempt to escape, and there's a pretty good story for one prisoner who escaped. A 22-year-old prisoner escaped and disappeared into Swan Creek Marsh. However, the sheriff wasn't worried, because the mosquitoes in the swamp would stop him before he could get anywhere else. And I'm not joking, that's legit what the sheriff said. He was right, by the way, because the POW turned himself into the very first farm he saw. I don't know what kind of mosquitoes he came across in that marsh, but remind me never to go there, because I feel like I'm about to get murdered by the mosquito mafia, and they're gonna hit me with baseball bats. The family there showed some hospitality, gave him some food, let him rest before turning him in to the sheriff the next morning. The camp was closed in 1946, fell into disrepair, and was eventually torn down. Fact number 8. The first recorded case of the flu. Scientists have theorized that influenza first started infecting humans all the way back when we started domesticating birds and pigs. There are no historical records of when influenza did start infecting people, considering the fact that nobody knew how to write their language back then. If I had a market with things for you to purchase, I would not have to write down anything. You would just walk up and ask me, how much is this apple? And I would respond with, 1 goat. We do have a fantastic starting point, however. The Greek physician Hippocrates wrote many books, and I know that's probably not how you say his name, but screw you, I'm saying it that way because it's fun to say Hippocrates. One of his books, his 6th one, Epidemics, has a mention of a disease very similar to influenza. He wrote about how it was very contagious, and the symptoms he described were similar to that of the flu we know today. Modern doctors believe that this book has the first instance of anybody mentioning influenza. This book was written in 412 BC. That is before Christianity could have really even started, since Jesus wasn't even born yet. The Bible probably wasn't even fucking written at this point. They were all fucking heathens. Fact number 9. The etymology of the British slang nonce. The definition of this slang is a pedophile, or someone who's guilty of serial offenses against a child. The date, 1975, was next to the definition on Wikipedia, and I have no idea what that means. If you could tell me what that means in the comments below, I would be grateful. This slang term is derived from British criminal slang. Several origins have been proposed for where and when nonce started becoming a word. It could have been derived from the already existing word nonce, which is with an S. This version meant a stupid or worthless individual, like insert any political candidate you don't like here. This slang wasn't around before the child molester definition of this word. It's probably not that. We also have the word nance to look at. Nance essentially means a homosexual, so I'm not sure if I just said a slur, because I'm not sure if it was something negative against gay people. Nonce could also be an acronym for not on normal communal exercise, but this could be people making acronyms off of random words. The exact origin of the slang nonce may never be known to normal people like us, but at least we can take solace in knowing it's hilarious when a British guy calls James Charles a nonce, and James Charles still takes a picture with the guy because they didn't know what the word meant. Fact number 10. Does everybody have herpes? That's a fact I've heard for a long time and always wanted to look into it. The short answer is no, but the long answer is a little more crazy. Most people are exposed to the HSV-1 virus by the young age of 5. People can carry this virus and never know it because it can be asymptomatic. Take me and another American and put them in a room together. One of us has oral herpes. 1 in 2 Americans have oral herpes. Take the total number of Americans that are in that room and increase it by 6. So now there are 8 people in that room. One of us has genital herpes. These people are aged between 14 and 49. So it's not everybody, but it's a big age gap. The virus is easily transmitted, and all it takes is a kiss for you to get it. Just sharing a spoon or a straw can infect you as well. When you are exposed to the virus, it travels through your body until it reaches something called the dorsal root ganglion. Don't ask me why it's called that. This is why I hate science, because now I have to figure out what the fuck a dorsal root ganglion is. And good thing I did that so you don't have to. These are nerve cells by your spinal cord. I don't know why they go there, but that's where they live at. Symptoms won't happen immediately, and for most people, just stays dormant for their entire lives. You probably have herpes, you just don't know it yet. 10 minutes of your life are now gone, but hopefully you learned something new today that you can bring up at Thanksgiving dinner when your drunk great-grandpa starts bragging about killing the Japs back in Iwo Jima. Make sure to subscribe to join me again for another 10 minutes. Leave a like on the video and any questions about life or topics you may have in the comments below, and maybe they'll be answered on the next episode of 10 Facts in 10 Minutes. Stay golden, people of the YouTube intro.